Call me now. The shocking truth my lawyer revealed about my daughter-in-law at 3 a.m. The phone rang at 3 a.m., slicing through the stillness like a knife. Miriam's heart raced as the harsh tone echoed off the walls of her dark living room. She stumbled to grab the receiver, her fingers trembling. The voice on the other end was frantic, her lawyer, Sam. "You need to sit down," he said, every word dripping with urgency. A chill crept up her spine. It felt surreal, like a scene ripped straight out of a thriller. But this was her life, and it was spiraling into chaos. "It's about Jessica," Sam said. Her daughter-in-law, a sweet woman with a charming smile that seemed to hide secrets. Miriam always thought she had the perfect family. But why was her lawyer calling at this hour? Something dark lurked beneath the surface. A gut-wrenching feeling clawed at her insides. What had Jessica done? His voice trembled. "She's not who you think she is." Each word felt like a bombshell exploding in Miriam's brain. Memories flashed like a movie reel, the family BBQs, laughter echoing as Jessica played with the kids, the seemingly harmless secrets she shared. But now, doubts clouded those memories. Was there a hidden side to the woman who married her son? They found something: her bank account. It's walled off from the family. "She's been involved in something big," Sam spoke, every syllable heavy with implication. Shadows crept into Miriam's mind. Images of deceit, betrayal. Could Jessica be part of a scam? Or worse, something illegal? The rabbit hole was calling her. Who was this woman, really? Suddenly, a noise jolted Miriam from her thoughts, a crash in the other room. Panic tightened her throat. "I think someone's here," she whispered, barely able to breathe. Sam's voice cut through her fear. "You need to lock the doors. I'm sending help." The urgency escalated. She felt the weight of her own fear pressing down on her chest, the realization settling heavily on her. What if Jessica had brought danger into their lives? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Miriam glanced around. The shadows in her home now felt alive. She pressed her back against the wall, trying to blend into the darkness as if it could shield her from what she was about to uncover. The fear pulsed through her veins. Was this all just a misunderstanding? Or had her family been living a lie? And then she heard footsteps, a slow, deliberate thud echoing through the hallway. Her heart raced, every beat echoing a question. What if Jessica wasn't just involved? What if she was the enemy? The footsteps grew louder, each one a heavy reminder that the unknown was creeping closer. Miriam's breath hitched in her throat as she fought the wild urge to scream. The uncertainty gnawed at her. What if Jessica had a partner in this twisted game? Her mind replayed Sam's words like a broken record. "She's not who you think she is." Miriam couldn't afford to let fear paralyze her. Straining to listen, she realized the footsteps had paused. Silence hung thick in the air, broken only by the sound of Miriam's rapid heartbeat. She felt as if the walls were closing in, squeezing her until there was almost no air left. "Is anyone there?" she called out, her voice a feeble whisper swallowed by the shadows. No response. Every instinct urged her to flee, but where could she go? The only exit was right in the path of whatever or whoever was in her house. In an act of desperation, she scanned the room for something to defend herself with. A lamp? A heavy book? No, she needed something more solid, something that could give her a fighting chance. The crashing sound returned, this time from the kitchen. It rattled her nerves, but it also sparked a fire inside her. With shaky hands, she moved towards the dining room, making sure to keep to the edges, out of sight. The dim light barely illuminated the path before her, but she had to press on. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the kitchen, a dark silhouette cutting through the gloom. Miriam froze, her heart hammering wildly against her ribs. Was it an intruder? Was it Jessica? The figure stepped into the weak light, and it was a man. His face was partly hidden in shadow, but the intent behind his eyes was unmistakable. Danger. What do you want? Miriam's voice quivered, but she stood her ground. The air thickened, heavy with dread. I'm just here to ask a few questions, he replied, his voice both smooth and sinister, sending icy tendrils of fear dancing down her spine. About Jessica? She blurted out, surprise and anger merging inside her. Why were people always poking around her family? He smirked. You could say that. She's in deeper than you realize. Before Miriam could retort, the sound of sirens wailed in the distance, a haunting cacophony that signaled hope but also dread. Would they arrive too late? The man's expression shifted, a flash of irritation. He glanced toward the sound, tension tightening his jawline. Looks like I don't have time for this. But I'll be back, trust me, he said, and in a blink, he disappeared into the shadows, leaving Miriam alone and panting in a silence that felt even more oppressive. Her thoughts raced. What did he want? How was Jessica involved? The pieces of a horrifying puzzle began to align in her mind, but the full picture was still hidden behind a veil of confusion and fear. A knock at the front door shattered the silence and made her flinch. Miriam. Open up. It's Sam. Relief washed over her, but it was quickly replaced with questions. She rushed to the door and yanked it open. Sam stood there, panic lining his features. Did you see him? He demanded, his tone gripping her tightly. Who was he? What does he want with Jessica? As Sam's gaze sharpened, he took a deep breath. There's something you need to know, something I should have told you sooner. Miriam's stomach churned. The air felt electric, charged with the promise of revelations that could upend everything she thought she knew. Tell me. Now. But just as Sam opened his mouth, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, the same place the figure had vanished. And then a scream erupted. Jessica. Miriam dashed back, her instinct screaming, was her daughter-in-law in danger? What more had been hidden from her? As she approached the kitchen, her mind spun with possibilities. Was anything safe anymore? The moment would shape her next steps, and Miriam needed answers, but would she find them before it was too late? The kitchen door loomed ahead, a portal into the abyss of secrets waiting to be uncovered. What awaited her on the other side? Miriam's hand trembled as she reached for the kitchen doorknob, the metal cold and unyielding against her palm. The scream echoed in her ears, a desperate plea that propelled her forward. She threw the door open with a force fueled by a mix of fear and fierce determination. The kitchen was a chaos of overturned chairs and shattered dishes. The air hung thick with a scent of something metallic and wrong. Her heart raced as she scanned the room, searching for any sign of Jessica. The shadows danced frantically, refusing to reveal what lay waiting. Jessica? Miriam's voice broke the oppressive silence, each syllable hanging in the air like a prayer. She stepped inside, her breath coming in ragged bursts. The kitchen looked lived in, but an eerie stillness pricked at her skin. Then she spotted her. Jessica slumped against the far wall, eyes wide in terror. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth, staining her shirt. Miriam rushed to her, kneeling beside her daughter-in-law, the panic rising like bile in her throat. What happened? Miriam gasped, shakily cupping Jessica's face in her hands. Who did this? Jessica looked dazed, as if her mind was trapped in a fog. Miriam, he was here. The man. He was searching for something. Her voice was faint, each word a brittle reminder of the terror she had just endured. Miriam's stomach twisted. Searching for what? Why didn't you call me? She scanned the kitchen. It felt like a maze, each corner shadowy and foreboding. Had the man taken something? Had he been looking for her? I didn't think he would find me. I thought I was safe here. Jessica winced as she tried to sit up, the pain evident on her face. He knew too much. He knows everything. Her eyes flickered with fear, and Miriam felt a chill run down her spine. Sam rushed in behind her, his face pale. What happened? I heard her scream. He knelt beside them, his expression switching from alarm to fury in a heartbeat. He looked at Jessica, then back to Miriam, realization dawning. We have to get her to a hospital. No. Jessica protested weakly. It's not safe. If he finds out I talked, he'll come back for me. Miriam's heart raced. Then we have to call the police. They can protect us. No time. Jessica shook her head, eyes darting toward the kitchen window. He's coming. You can't trust anyone. Miriam's mind reeled. Panic clawed at her throat. What did Jessica mean? Who was this man, and why was he so intent on controlling their lives? Suddenly, a noise outside made them all freeze. A soft crunching sound, like footsteps on gravel. Sam moved to the window, pushing aside the curtains just enough to see outside. His face paled. What is it? Miriam whispered, her voice trembling. There's a car parked down the street. I think it's him. A rush of adrenaline surged through Miriam. They were trapped. We need to leave. We can't stay here. No. Jessica grasped Miriam's arm with surprising strength. If he finds you, he'll use you against me. You don't understand, he wants to destroy us all. Miriam's heart raced with a mix of dread and resolve. They were in deeper than she realized. Secrets wrapped around them like a heavy shroud. What are you hiding? Sam's brow furrowed as he turned to Jessica, the tension thickening the air. I'll tell you everything, she gasped, clutching her side. But you have to promise. No matter what happens, you have to get out of here. I can't let him win. Miriam felt the weight of her daughter-in-law's fear thread through her, binding them tighter than ever before. She gripped Jessica's shoulders, determination flaring in her chest. We're not going anywhere without the truth. Your family. Whatever it takes, we face this together. The sound of an engine rumbling broke through the silence like a gunshot. They could feel it, a presence lurking just beyond their reach, waiting for chaos to unravel. A figure was moving toward their door. Get ready, Sam whispered, shifting his weight, preparing for whatever horror was about to unfold. Then, a knock came at the door, sharp, demanding. Time's up, Miriam breathed, dread twisting her insides. What would happen when she opened that door? Would they confront the monster that had turned their lives upside down? The moment lingered, heavy with impending doom, as they prepared to face the darkness. What would they uncover when the door swung open? Miriam's breath caught in her throat as that knock echoed through the kitchen. The sound thudded like a warning bell, each strike urging them to move but paralyzing them in fear. Don't open it. Jessica hissed, terror widening her eyes. Sam tightened his grip, his posture shifting into a protective stance, body tense and alert. Who is it? Miriam called out, her voice quivering but firm. Silence answered, thick and suffocating. The only noise was the slight rustling from the outside, someone moving just beyond the threshold. Miriam fought the urge to peek through the peephole. She didn't want to expose herself to whatever horror lay outside. Jessica, what do we do? Sam's voice was barely above a whisper, a mixture of concern and urgency in his tone. I told you, he's coming for me, Jessica replied, a shiver running through her. If you open that door, he'll know you're here. You have to trust me. A new knock reverberated through the room, more insistent this time. The door rattled slightly under the pressure. Miriam's heart hammered in her chest, pounding her insecurities against the wall of her resolve. What if we don't open the door? Sam suggested. What if we just know? Jessica gripped his arm, her voice rising in panic. He'll break in. He will do whatever it takes. We can't show weakness. Before Miriam could react, a voice sliced through the air, smooth yet menacing. Miriam, I know you're in there. You can't hide forever. Let us not make this harder than it has to be. Her stomach dropped. It was a voice that dripped malice, a tone that stung more than any blow could. "Who is that?" Sam ground out, stepping closer to Miriam and Jessica, every muscle in his body coiled tight. "Just, someone from my past," Jessica said, her voice shaking. "A mistake I made that I thought was buried." The truth settled over Miriam like a cold mist. She could feel Jessica's fear pulsating, radiating outwards with each heartbeat. "Why is he after you? What is going on?" Miriam demanded, her voice trembling but laced with intensity. "If we're going to fight this, we need to be all in. No more secrets." A shiver ran down Jessica's spine. "He didn't just find me, he knows what I've done. He knows I can't go back." "Go back to what?" Sam pressed, urgency creeping into his tone. Jessica met Miriam's gaze, fear warring with a desperate sense of protective urgency. "You need to trust me. The truth is dangerous. I can't lose you too." Miriam felt a surge of defiance. "You'll lose us if we don't face this together. We can't let fear dictate our choices." Another knock, this one more aggressive, reverberated through the door. The house felt smaller, the shadows closing in. "Open the door, Miriam. I'm only here to help you. I have what you need." "What do you mean?" The words escaped her lips before she could think them through. There was a pause, and then a creaking chuckle that made the hair on her arms stand on end. "You know exactly what I'm talking about. This will all end if you just let me in." Jessica slumped, her expression a mixture of dread and defeat. "Oh God, no, he's figured it out. It's not just me he wants." Miriam's heart plummeted. "What do you mean?" Before Jessica could respond, the figure outside the door moved, almost gliding with purpose. "Time's running out, Miriam. Choose. I can help you or we can finish this here. You decide." Tension hung thick in the air, the question lingered on Miriam's lips. Was this the moment to allow access to the man who threatened them, or could they hold their ground just a little longer? As panic engulfed every corner of her mind, violence seemed an inevitable visitor. She glanced at Jessica, her heart yearning for answers, truths that felt like jagged shards piercing through the heavy fog of confusion. "Who is he?" Sam's voice dropped. "What does he want from us?" And as if the night knew the answer, the door creaked ominously, bending under the weight of a decision that might leave them shattered if they failed to choose wisely. Miriam felt the walls closing around her. A dark revelation waited just beyond that door, shrouded in secrets yet to be spoken. Would they break apart under the pressure, or emerge stronger together at last? Each tick of the clock echoed like a death knell, plunging them deeper into a night drenched in danger. Would she dare to open the door, or would they fall victim to the unseen shadow lurking so close? In that fraught instant, the knock came again, louder, demanding. "Will you trust me now?" Echoed the voice outside, challenging everything Miriam thought she knew. What would she risk by stepping into the light of truth? Miriam's pulse quickened at that final question. The weight of the moment pressed against her chest, forcing her to steady her breath. Lights flickered above, casting uneven shadows that danced like phantoms on the walls. "Trust him?" Jessica whispered, eyes wide and glistening with unshed tears. "You cannot trust him, Miriam. He will use you, like he used me." Sam's jaw tightened, all his instincts screaming for action. "We need a plan. We can't just stand here. Any minute, we could lose everything." Another knock, more forceful than before, rattled the kitchen door. "Your time's almost up, Miriam. He won't stop until he gets what he desires." The voice lingered with intensity, an echoing reminder that danger loomed just outside. "Let me help you, I promise, it can all be over." Miriam's hands trembled, caught in a whirlpool of doubt and dread. "Help us do what? To face whatever nightmare this is?" Jessica stepped forward, desperation etched on her face. "Miriam. Please. What if he's right?" Sam's voice cut through like a knife. "What if we're out of options?" "Out of options? I refuse to accept that." Miriam replied, holding her ground, though uncertainty gnawed at her resolve. Jessica's gaze dropped, then flicked to the door, as if contemplating the horrors it held. You don't know what he's capable of. I've seen it. Just then, the tension thickened as the doorknob turned slowly, the sound slicing through the silence. Every instinct told them to flee, yet they stood rooted in place. The door creaked open a fraction, revealing a sliver of darkness like a black abyss inviting them closer. Miriam, he said softly, almost tenderly, let me in. Just a moment is all I need. Miriam could barely breathe. The air felt static, charged with a sense of impending doom. The outside world seemed to vanish, narrowing down to that single moment, that cryptic plea. Let us hear him out, Sam whispered, stepping closer. Just a bit. We can outsmart him if we're smart. No. Jessica cried. If you let him in, you'll wish you hadn't tea. I won't let you. I can't let you. Ignoring her plea, Sam reached for the doorknob, ready to take the leap into the uncertain night. Before Miriam could intervene, the door swung open all the way. Standing in the doorway was a figure cloaked in shadow, eyes glinting like sharpened glass in the dim light. A small smirk curled across his lips, satisfaction spilling from his every feature. You've made the right choice, Miriam. Jessica stepped back, her body trembling like a leaf in a storm. No, tell her I'm here for the truth, he said, voice smooth as silk. No more secrets. Step away from her. Sam shouted, putting himself between Miriam and the man who exuded danger like a thick fog. Or what? You'll protect her? Pathetic, the intruder sneered. You can't save her. I have the power to give her what she craves, but she has to take a leap of faith. Miriam's heart raced, caught between the swirling storm of betrayal and desperation. What do you know? Everything, Miriam, he replied, his voice a low growl. But this isn't the right place for revelations. Come with me, and the truth will be laid bare. The universe seemed to collapse around her, the weight of a million thoughts swirling in her mind. Trust him? Leave the safety of her home? Stray from the resonating bond she had with Jessica and Sam? Another powerful wave of uncertainty washed over her. What if it's a trap? Miriam asked, her voice a mere whisper. Then you'll die knowing you faced your fears head-on, he retorted, eyes gleaming with something almost hungry. Jessica gasped, pulling at Sam's sleeve. Don't let her go. Miriam's voice hardened with newfound determination. What's it going to be? She stood at the edge of a precipice, everything at stake. Fear clawed at her thoughts while adrenaline rushed to her veins. Will you fall, or will you fight? The decision weighed heavily, and as they stood there, poised at the brink of chaos, the shadows behind him shifted, creating an uneasy alliance of fate and choice. What lay before them, what truths might spiral from this moment their next step could change everything. Choose wisely, Miriam, echoed the voice, thick with ominous promise. The truth always finds a way to surface. Just as the door swung higher, a flash of movement caught Miriam's eye from the corner of the room. The night was just beginning to unfold, and so was the dread of all that remained unspoken. What awaited them beyond the door? Would they find salvation written in truth, or would the skeletons of their past drag them down into darkness? Miriam's thoughts raced as she hovered at a precipice between fear and curiosity. Sam's presence felt like a blanket of security, while Jessica's trembling form added to the weight of the impending storm. What do we do? She whispered, barely realizing she had spoken aloud. Go with him, Miriam, Sam urged, his voice barely above a whisper but sharpened with urgency. We need answers. I can protect you. Jessica shook her head, eyes wide and frantic. Don't trust him. You don't know what he can do. He's done it before. Her voice cracked with raw panic, each syllable a plea laced with desperation, but as she looked into the intruder's piercing eyes, something within Miriam stirred. A deep-seated longing flickered, a notion that maybe stepping into that darkness could offer some clarity. After all, hadn't she always been the type to search out the truth, no matter how painful? Don't you see? The man in the doorway leaned closer, shadows enveloping him like a cloak. This is about more than just you. It's about the future. You think I want my future tied to you? Miriam shot back, fighting the distinct pull of his presence. Your future is already entwined, he countered, a sinister gleam igniting in his eyes. I can show you how to break free. I can give you what you've always desired. Miriam could feel it, an unsettling thrill skittered along her spine. A raging torrent of questions surged. Was he speaking of liberation or enslavement? Did he see the chains she wore, invisible but heavy? Just listen to him. Don't be a fool. Jessica's voice sliced through the heavy air, desperation weaving through her tone. He's a monster. With each word, the back of Miriam's mind pushed her further into a corner of doubt. Sam stayed silent, but he was watching her with an intensity that begged her to trust him instead. Tell me, what do you know? Miriam asked, her voice firm yet trembling. A lot more than you think. He stepped closer, the darkness pulling back slightly as he moved, allowing a glimmer of light to catch his features, a predatory smile that sent another wave of shivers through her bones. You've always known there was something off, something you needed to confront. Let me guide you through it. Stay back. Sam moved forward protectively, fists clenching. But Miriam reached out, an instinctual urge to find the truth overriding her fear. Please, she murmured, torn within herself. The intruder smiled wider, as though sensing her internal struggle. Trust me. All I ask is for a moment. I've unlocked doors for others like you. Darkness can illuminate, Miriam. It can unveil the hidden things. Just come with me. Suddenly, a deep, resonating silence fell upon the group, the shadows around them seeming to shift and swirl, heightening the tension. All right, Miriam said, a decision hardening inside her like steel. What's the worst that could happen? She stepped forward, ignoring the frantic hand reaching for her from Jessica. As she crossed the threshold, an electric jolt surged through her, igniting her senses. The door swung shut behind them with a resounding thud, sealing her decision. Jessica's panicked voice echoed against the walls. What have you done? Miriam halted as the darkness enveloped her, and her heart raced with a mixture of fear and excitement. The shadows seemed alive, whispering secrets as they danced on the edges of her vision. With every breath, she felt the pull of unseen truths, the world outside fading away. Welcome, the man hissed, leading her into an unknown expanse. Your journey begins now. But before she could respond, the air cracked with an ominous tension, and the echo of another knock sounded loudly from the door behind them, a warning, a reminder. What lay waiting out here? She thought, glancing back just in time to catch a glimpse of Jessica's fearful face pressed against the glass, desperate and pleading. Miriam. Jessica shouted, the horror in her voice sharp enough to slice through her resolve. Miriam felt the lines of fate tighten around her. She had stepped into a world of shadows, leaving behind everything she once knew. Every instinct screamed at her to turn back, but a deeper part of her hungered for what lay ahead. Would she be engulfed in darkness, trapped forever? Or could her leap of faith lead her to the truth she had always sought? With wide eyes, she looked ahead, a single thought resonating within her. What would she discover in this new realm, and at what cost? The air thickened with an unnatural chill as Miriam stepped into the darkness, her heartbeat matching the deep, rhythmical thuds of her anxiety. The man's grip, cool yet firm, felt reassuring yet utterly foreign. Shadows skittered at the edges of her vision, whispering unrecognizable secrets that danced around her like a playful breeze, teasing her senses. Where are we going? She asked, her voice a fragile murmur, swallowed by the consuming void that surrounded them. You'll see, he replied, his voice low and smooth, reminiscent of honey laced with poison. Each word dripped with an invitation that sent tremors through her heart. Follow me. The truth lurks just ahead. Miriam hesitated, the remnants of her connection to reality gnawing at her mind. Jessica and Sam were right outside, and she could almost feel their fear seep through the cracks of the door she had shut behind her. A part of her screamed to return, but the lure of uncovering her hidden truths pulled her deeper into the chill. As they walked, the shadows shifted, and the walls around them swelled with deep hues of crimson and black, pulsating like a living thing. The man stopped suddenly, turning to face her. "Look closely," he said, gesturing to an ethereal mist that began to form at the center of the room. "What do you see?" Miriam stared, her breath hitching as the mist coalesced into figures, visions of her past spinning before her eyes. She saw herself as a child, alone in her room, yearning for companionship. Next, memories of Jessica and Sam, framed in laughter, filled her with a warmth that now felt distant. An image of an open notebook surfaced, inked with her deepest secrets, dreams and fears she had meticulously tucked away. "Why are you showing me this?" Miriam gasped, her pulse quickening. "What does any of this mean?" "It's all connected," he replied, his voice steady as the visions whirled around them. "To understand your future, you must confront your past. You cannot truly break free without acknowledging the chains that bind you to it." A pang of recognition struck Miriam, the weight of his words pressing down like a thick fog. But panic surged as she felt the visions pulling her in, threatening to consume her whole. Each memory was a sharp knife, carving into her heart. "No, I can't," she shouted, instinctively retreating, but the space morphed around her, creating walls that closed in like a vice. "Face it," the man commanded, stepping forward. "Only by embracing your truth can you transform this darkness into something powerful." Another wave of memories crashed over her like icy water. She recalled the moments of abandonment, the times she let fear dictate her choices. Each recollection twisted her insides, drowning her in guilt. Was this her truth? How could she possibly turn such pain into strength? Miriam clutched her head, overwhelmed. I don't want to be like this. I want to break free." "Then do it," he urged, the intensity in his eyes flaring like fire. "You must take ownership of your journey." A growl of desperation rose from deep within her, battling the chaos. She could feel her spirit teetering on the edge of despair. But right there, amidst the turmoil, a flicker of hope ignited a light that wanted to rise from the ashes. Before she could grasp it, the darkness threatened to smother her again. The intruder's presence flickered, and suddenly, the shadows began to shift more violently, swirling like a tempest. The walls around her rumbled, and she realized that not all was as it seemed. "What is happening?" she cried, her voice trembling with fear. The man smirked, revealing a glimpse of something far more sinister. "You will have to decide quickly, Miriam. The path diverges. Choose the light, or embrace the dark that has always been within you." Time is running out. The ground beneath her trembled, and the room shuddered, casting her precariously between light and shadow. With doubts gnawing at her heart, she knew one thing: she had to choose. But could she really confront what lay ahead? As the dark swirled around her like a creature alive, she took a deep breath, preparing to make the choice. What would she sacrifice to unleash her true self? And could she handle the consequences of her decision? A deafening silence enveloped the room as Miriam stood at the precipice of her choice. The shadows twisted around her like serpents, eager to drag her into their depths. Breathing heavily, she felt her heart race, pounding like a war drum. What if she chose wrong? What if the darkness consumed her whole? "Miriam," the man's voice cut through her panic, smooth and almost hypnotic. "All you can do is surrender to what is inside you. You are stronger than you believe." But his eyes betrayed a flicker of something untrustworthy, a darkness that seemed to dangle just beneath his calm exterior. "Stronger than I believe?" she echoed, feeling the weight of her scars pressing down like chains. Memories flooded her mind. The bullying in school, the arguments with her parents, the suffocating loneliness. Each pain had shaped her, stealing pieces of her joy. "Do you remember the girl who used to dream of being a fighter?" he pressed, his voice rising with fervor. "She still lives within you. You can reclaim that light. Find her and fight." Reclaim. That word struck her like lightning. What if this choice wasn't just about light and darkness, but about reclaiming her true self, the fierce, unyielding spirit buried beneath years of hurt? She straightened her shoulders, fighting the tide of despair that threatened to sweep her away. I want to face it. She shouted, the truth of her declaration sending a shockwave through the air. The shadows recoiled slightly as if unsure how to respond to her conviction. I do want to fight. Almost instantly, the twisting shadows froze. A new energy flickered at the edges of her consciousness, wrapping around her like a blanket of warmth. She could feel something inside her stirring, a force eager to ignite. The man's expression shifted, a mix of surprise and intrigue. Very well, he said slowly, rubbing his chin. Then let us see how deep this darkness runs. Embrace your memories, all of them. Allow their truths to surface. Only then can you transcend. The walls began to shimmer, the vibrancy of color rising within the darkness. Images appeared, all of them. Joyful moments blurred with painful ones, laughter intertwined with sobs. She could almost hear their echoes, loud and clear, stirring emotions that had long since been buried. What if I can't handle it? She whispered, suddenly feeling small again. Of course you can. Trust yourself. The choice you are facing is the first step towards freedom. He encouraged. Bear witness to the stories of your life, both good and bad. You possess the power to change their meanings. With newfound determination, Miriam took a steadying breath. She let the memories wash over her, allowing both the light and dark to reveal themselves. She saw herself falling down and breaking, and she felt pain. But more importantly, she remembered rising time and time again, bursting with fire, smiles and laughter fluttered around her, replacing the darkness. She wove ribbons of hope amongst the sorrow, creating a tapestry of resilience. Her heart thudded with a powerful rhythm of pride. She was not just her failures, she was the fighter who had overcome, refused to stay down. As she stood firm in that light, she saw the man's smirk disappear, replaced by something almost reverent. Now, he said, voice lowering, what will you do with this knowledge? Miriam's insides twisted again, but this time it was with a purpose. She was ready to confront the darkness as a whole. But suddenly, a shrill, piercing sound erupted around her, a warning, an alarm. Time's up. Your friends are in danger, Miriam. The man shouted, and with that, his demeanor shifted back to hostility. Choose your path. Will you fight for them, or will you turn your back? Panic slammed into her, and she felt her mind race with possibilities. This journey wasn't just about her anymore. Jessica and Sam's lives hung in the balance too. Fear knotted in her stomach, desperate for action. Choose the light, Miriam. The voice murmured a final time as the shadows recoiled, leaving her standing alone amid swirling chaos, with her heart racing and her mind spinning. Her decision loomed, heavy like a thundercloud. What was she willing to sacrifice? The alarm thundered on. Would she rush back to save them or fully embrace the darkness threatening to swallow her whole? Miriam's heart raced as the alarm blared, its shrill sound clawing at her thoughts. Time was a cruel enemy, ticking away as she stood at the crossroads of choice. What if Jessica and Sam were already in the grip of shadows? The thought sliced through her, igniting a fierce urgency within her. Finish what you started. The man's voice cut through the chaos, commanding yet tainted with that overwhelming darkness. His expression remained inscrutable, like a hawk waiting to dive on a fragile sparrow. Your memories will either lift you or shackle you. Choose wisely. She clenched her fists, feeling the heat radiate from the light within her. It pushed against the inky shadows that loomed at the edges of her awareness. Could she integrate her pain with her newfound strength? Or would that darkness obliterate her? I won't turn my back, she murmured, a whisper on the brink of resolve that echoed through the stillness. With a surge of strength, she dove into the maelstrom of her memories once more. The easy laughter shared with friends, the comforting embrace of her mother, and the sting of betrayal tumbled like marbles in her mind. Each recollection nudged her closer to understanding herself. The power in her roots seemed to call louder than the fog that was chasing her, but even as she embraced this inner fire, flickers of doubt still danced around her. If she chose the light, would she leave behind the truth of her scars? What if they, too, were a part of her story, the man watched her closely, his eyes sharp. You have to act, Miriam. Your friends are already sinking. Break free. Then another alarm blared, different from the first, a thunderous crash that chilled her blood. Danger was no longer a distant thought, it had made its way home, invading her very space, and she felt the breath hitch in her throat. No! She shouted, fierce determination coming alive within her. I choose to fight. I choose the light. Her words resonated, sending ripples through the air like a shockwave. The shadows that had once felt suffocating began to writhe, almost reluctant to retreat. Suddenly, she was engulfed in blinding light, the memories coalescing into something tangible, a shimmering weapon crafted from her pain and joy, polished by resilience. With a clenched jaw, she turned towards the swirling chaos. I'm coming for you, Jessica. Sam. Hold on. The world around her distorted as she squeezed her eyes shut, feeling her spirit tethering to an unseen force. When she opened them again, the scene transformed, shifting her to a place dark and twisted, an abandoned warehouse littered with debris and whispers. Shadows flitted like broken promises around her, flickering in and out of existence. Help us. A desperate cry resonated through the tangled labyrinth of shadows. Miriam. They were here. Her friends. She raced forward, adrenaline surging, breaking through the suffocating darkness that threatened to pull her back. But each step grew heavier, as if the shadows were fighting her, clinging to her legs like a shroud. Don't fight me. The man's voice echoed through the darkness, now full of threat. You can't win. The shadows have teeth. Teeth. Miriam looked down, panic threatening to swallow her whole. But she couldn't let fear dictate her. With steady breaths, she summoned the light inside her, letting it shine brighter than the shadows that roared to consume her. Let them go. She shouted, heart racing. You don't own me. As her voice rang out, a small spark ignited in the distance, Jessica's figure flickering into view, struggling against bonds made of shadows. Miriam. We're trapped. Sam's frantic shout cut through the air, fear bubbled inside her, threatening to drown her. She knew she had to act quickly. But time was running out, and the darkness surged closer, teeth gleaming, hungry for a fight. Would she be strong enough to free them all? Or would the shadows seize her spirit as they had claimed so many before? Determination clenched her gut. She had come too far. The choice was no longer hers to make alone. Together. She yelled, rallying the remnants of her strength, and charged forward into the depths of uncertainty. Would they rise as fighters or fall as prey? The gripping unknown loomed just ahead. Miriam's heart pounded like a drum, the shadows swirling around her threatening to swallow her whole as she fought her way through the darkness. Together. She called out, her voice echoing with determination. She could see Jessica and Sam struggling against the binds of an unseen force, their silhouettes flickering as if caught between dimensions. Don't let it take you. She yelled, her own spirit igniting as if fueled by their shared anguish. The shadows hissed, recoiling from her words like a predator repelled by the light. Each step she took felt like a battle, the ground beneath her shifting from solid to gelatinous, trying to pull her down. But she fought against it, harnessing the warmth of her memories, the laughter with her family, the quiet moments shared with Jessica and Sam, the tears shed over late-night talks. She could feel the light within her growing, a beacon against the darkness. Hold on. She shouted again, her voice steadier now, more commanding. I want to let you go. At that moment, the hunger of the shadows surged closer, the dark forms elongating with tendrils stretching towards her, but Miriam pushed through the fear gripping her heart. She reached deep within her soul, pulling forth the courage buried beneath doubt. You cannot have us. She screamed, launching her hand forward, palm outstretched. In an instant, light burst forth from her fingertips, spilling into the shadows like rays of sunshine on a cold winter's day. A brilliant glow radiated from her, cascading over Jessica and Sam, illuminating their faces that were twisted in fear and pain. Fight! She urged them, and they joined her, summoning their own inner strength. The shadows howled, their forms flickering under the assault of the light that pooled around Miriam, Jessica, and Sam. Together, they created an unyielding wall of brightness, the darkness twisting and screeching as they pushed it back. "We can do this!" Sam shouted, summoning his voice even louder, his strength feeding into Miriam's determination. Jessica's eyes sparkled bright with newfound courage. "Yes! We're stronger together." As their collective will surged, the shadows began to dissipate, writhing like smoke caught in a gust of wind. The binds holding Jessica and Sam slackened, and they surged forward, freed by the light that Miriam had unleashed. The darkness hissed one last time before retreating, slinking away like a dying flame, and in its wake, warmth filled the empty space where fear had reigned. Miriam fell into her friend's arms, tears streaming down her face as relief washed over her. "We did it, we actually did it," she whispered, joy mingling with disbelief, but the moment of tranquility was short-lived. The shadows had not vanished completely, they lingered, restless and waiting. "He's still out there," Jessica murmured, the shadows swirling ominously as though sensing defeat, growing darker from the remnants left behind. "We can't let him take you." Miriam shook her head with fierce resolve. "I'll never go back to that place. We're moving forward, together." As they turned to leave the remnants of darkness behind them, a figure emerged from the shadows, cloaked in darkness, eyes gleaming with malevolence. "You think you've won?" he sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. Miriam stepped forward, feeling the strength of her friends beside her. "No one can take me away again. We are no longer afraid." With that, she turned and led Jessica and Sam away from the lingering shadows. The warehouse began to fade, the walls collapsing into a soft glow, and the three of them emerged into the light of a new dawn, an awakening where truth triumphed over fear. Each step they took solidified the bond formed in the darkness, a commitment to facing whatever came next together. Miriam turned to her friends, their faces radiant with strength and the promise of the future. "Whatever happens, we face it together. We're family." As they stepped outside, the sun broke over the horizon, illuminating their path ahead. They were ready not just to embrace the light but to confront the challenges that loomed, armed with the truth that had made them stronger than ever. The shadows were gone but the light remained, a constant reminder that the past may shape them, but it would never define them. Now, it's time for you to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will leave you breathless. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support for more thrilling adventures. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. Let your voice be heard. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is what keeps this story alive.